This is a KRQE Investigate special with Gabrielle Burkhart and Pierret.
Hello and welcome to our quarterly special with your KRQE Investigates team. I'm Gabrielle Burkhart here with Pierret. We make up your KRQE Investigates team, and over the next hour, we're going to show you some of our most impactful investigations over the last few months of 2025, ranging from highlighting corruption cases to shining light on a dysfunctional district attorney's office.
Yeah, we're going to show you these stories, but we're also going to take you behind the scenes of each of these individual stories, share some added context about what we learned and what really went into putting these investigations together.
Yeah, and we're going to start with one of your stories that's really been like peeling back an onion. So much has been going on in Gallup, New Mexico, with the McKinley County District Attorney Bernadine Martin. And this piece that we're about to show you highlights a failure that she actually admits to you on camera.
All right, man. This guy's been heavily intoxicated. He can't follow directions.
It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon on a Saturday in Gallup.
I can tell you what happened there.
The McKinley County Sheriff's Office is responding to a crash on Carbon Coal Road north of I-40.
The door was open. I could see legs hanging out, so I knew somebody was in the car.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell what was going on.
The passerby tells deputies he pulled over to help.
He was on top of her, and she was trying to get out. On the horn. I get up there. He wasn't moving, so I had to grab his belt, and I pulled him out of the car, and that's when she was able to get up.
He says he let the woman sit in his car, and then police arrived.
But it wasn't until he started talking to me that you could smell it.
Okay.
He was leaning up against the car, holding himself up.
The driver would later blow a .24 on the breathalyzer test, 3 times the legal limit. Deputies found an open fifth of Crown Royal in the front seat and a piece of the car in the back seat. The police report states that came off in an earlier crash, and the man kept driving. The woman told police she tried to get out of the car after they crashed again, and the man attacked her. She was, quote, grabbed by the hair and neck, picked up and thrown into the driver's seat. And that's where, she told the investigator, he raped her.
Yeah, I've never seen anybody that scared.
Yeah.
She was freaking out.
The report notes the woman had a bite mark, bruises, and scratches on her body. Police arrested the man on scene. He faced 6 criminal charges: forcible rape, aggravated battery, false imprisonment, aggravated DWI, reckless driving, and possessing an open container.
This is a very serious case. This is a felony case that involved not only deputies that arrived on scene, but also one of our investigators to finish it out.
A McKinley County judge found probable cause for the charges, but a week later, the district attorney, Bernadine Martin, dismissed the case, quote, for reason conflict for district attorney's office.
I find it uncommon if you have a conflict of interest to just dismiss all the charges.
Typically, Sheriff James Mariano says a district attorney will instead send the case to a different county's DA and ask them to handle the prosecution.
I can't think of a reasonable explanation why it wouldn't have been sent out to another DA immediately.
Martin told me it was.
That was forwarded to a conflict prosecutor.
Do you know which prosecutor?
Yes. And I won't say the name right now because you're bringing it back up, but I never heard back.
When I asked for clarification, she wrote in an email, quote, I didn't say this went to a DA's office. It didn't. Martin added, quote, as you know, I've been busy. We do know. Since Bernadine Martin took office in 2020, personnel records show at least 45 of her employees, support staff, and attorneys quit or were fired by Martin. It's one of many reasons why the Attorney General just petitioned the state Supreme Court to remove her from office. This case opened in October 2023, almost 2 years ago, when records show she had 2 assistant prosecutors. She should have had 8.
2 years down the road, I'm not even sure if some of these misdemeanor DWI charges can still be refiled. The felonies can for sure. But this should have been done right away, both for the victim and for the right of the community. This individual was immediately released from jail once those charges were dismissed.
So Who was this individual?
He went to school with my kids. He's a friend of my kids, and that's a conflict. Yeah. I've declared it when I first saw it. I didn't even read the file. I don't know the details.
A personal connection.
I've never assumed that there was ill will or unethical behavior going on. What we had assumed was due to lack of staff, they just couldn't keep up, which is why we're having issues with subpoenas, deputies being subpoenaed to the wrong cases, or cases just dropping through the cracks. I assumed it was lack of personnel, and nothing malicious or intentional.
How do you feel now?
This one makes me wonder.
Wow, so this rape case, this is serious charges. The woman had bite marks and bruises. And when you asked DA Martin about this, what really struck me watching your piece was that she didn't even read the file because the person arrested, she said, was a friend of her kids. So it's a conflict. But what typically happens when a prosecutor has a legitimate conflict of interest in prosecuting a case?
Right. Normally, when there is a conflict of interest, the case just pauses. You don't dismiss the case. In this instance, dismissing the case was just really a bizarre move, and I've been told by other DAs and police officers something that they'd never seen before. It's just supposed to be a pause, a continuation, and then they immediately reach out to another DA's office. They say, I have a conflict with this one. Can you take it over? Then that DA says, yes, I can. No, I can't. If they can't, they ask another DA. They just kind of go down the line to find what's called a special prosecutor. And so that was one of the issues here, right? Because another thing that's important to note here, when the charges are dismissed, that person is let go. This case was dismissed. He was told, you're off the hook, essentially. What if he went and committed other crimes? There's no record that these charges are still pending. That changes the seriousness of maybe a pretrial detention hearing for this next case, anything like the next case that maybe he's accused of committing, right? So there's just an impact there, the ripple effect, right? So really just a bizarre move, one that really caught the AG's attention. We brought this case to their attention, caught the attention of other DAs as well, just with this is not how this is supposed to happen.
Wow. Well, we appreciate your reporting on that. And we're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Welcome back. Homelessness, it's a concern that is top of mind for most New Mexico communities right now. We've covered a number of angles on this topic for several years now. Most recently, Gabby, you received a tip about this next piece that really we had to see to believe. The city literally giving the homeless free rides into a neighborhood. Take a look.
Denise Baker.
Well, he's doing good. I'll keep you posted.
And her husband, Randy, will tell you,
we have our kids working here. We've been very involved in the community forever.
Community is the root of their business. Rio Bravo Brewing near I-40 and 2nd Street in Albuquerque.
It's communal. You sit with other people, you get to know them, you visit. And it's kind of that Cheers bar atmosphere that we really have strived to go for.
But the atmosphere outside paints a different picture.
Our goal is to keep our customers and our employees safe.
So 3 years ago, when the city closed a notorious homeless encampment down the block,
the violence at the park is escalating and the narcotics at the park is escalating. And it's getting harder and harder for us to even keep it clean in a sort of sanitary way.
The Bakers were relieved.
And I'm pessimistically optimistic about the future of Coronado Park.
Today, no one can enter the park, the former tent city now deserted.
As we'd gotten to where we'd be dragging people out, doing fentanyl in our bathrooms. They were threatening our customers, and it was horrible. It got better, and it was fine for a while.
But similar problems today, they say, are right outside.
More and more people gravitated there because the buses were picking them up and taking them.
Buses. You won't see signs for a designated bus stop here near 1st Street and I-40, but what you do usually see is a large group of people congregating in the underpass, and at least 4 times a day, a yellow school bus contracted by the city transports the homeless from here to the Gateway West shelter.
It's a really complex problem to solve.
J.R. Rial is the Executive Operations Officer for the City of Albuquerque.
Our goal is to ensure that we have the highest success rate in folks accepting service. This is an area that the community itself chose.
And when you say the community chose this area, you're talking about the community who uses the services.
Correct. We went to a location where the unsheltered were already at.
Rial says on average, city buses have transported more than 2,000 passengers to the Gateway West shelter within the year. But not everyone who hangs out here rides the bus or wants services. Around the corner, tensions are boiling over.
911 emergency. Yeah, I just got shot at over here underneath the bridge.
Lapel video shows Albuquerque police respond to a shooting last month reported by Aaron Berlint.
It's going to be at the 20 to AB trailers.
He's owned his trailer shop near 2nd Street and I-40 for a decade.
Something needs to be done around this. This is bull already. I understand. I've gone to jail. I fight with these guys every damn day. Now I'm getting shot at. Something needs to be done already.
Berlint admits the situation around his shop makes him angry and wanted to show us why.
Trash everywhere, druggies, fighting, alcohol, just living hell.
Like other business owners, he's invested in extra security to combat theft.
Just spent $20,000 on doing wrought iron fences. Can you smell the
yeah,
human waste?
You can smell it.
I mean, literally can see human everywhere.
He cleans up trash and drug paraphernalia daily, he says.
And this is all back.
He argues the community outside his shop can be combative. Berlint was arrested last year for fighting with a group of homeless people and claims it was self-defense. The case was ultimately dismissed. Then last month, while driving under the bridge,
and I told him, move, get out of the way, I gotta go through. And he's like, oh, really, we're gonna do this? Pulls out a gun. So I punch it and boom, shot at me.
Police took a report that day.
Can we go ask Florida to see if they saw anything? I don't even know, dude. There's so many of them.
But with conflicting accounts.
Nada?
Well, I asked these guys, they say they heard like gunshot down there. And I saw those guys in there, they heard gunshot over here.
No one was arrested for the shooting.
We need to throw some cameras down here. Oh yeah, we need to do a lot of things. And this is my livelihood. I'm kind of stuck. I'm 52 years old. How are you supposed to just start all over?
What would you like to see?
For one, I don't think there should be a bus drop off and thing here. They have no business over here all day long. That's the problem. They're living underneath this bridge and all they're doing is bad stuff. And I'm not a cold-hearted soul that, I understand they need help, but there's got to be something other kind of help. They got to get them off the drugs, and a lot of them need mental help.
Right behind his business, The Rock at Noonday, a Christian nonprofit, feeds the homeless, a cog in the community attempting to help.
The city of Albuquerque isn't the sole actor. We have to rely on our other partners.
Free meals and services near downtown draw much of the daily foot traffic. Rial says solid waste crews, ACS, and police are out here daily, doing their best to keep up.
Unsung heroes, really, who are out there every single day trying to interact and provide services for the folks who are living on the street. Safety and prosperity is kind of a #1 priority.
I want to make sure you understand that every business owner I've talked to, we see this as a problem. There's empathy, we feel sorry for them, we know something has to be done. Moving them for a little while, moving down the road, that's not the solution.
All right, Gabby, so let's keep this one simple. This piece resonated with so many people. Tell me about the feedback that you received after it aired.
Yeah, well, the feedback was coming in even during my reporting in this story. We would go and shoot, video of the buses because we wanted to see for ourselves what was happening in this community. And every time that myself and my photographer were out there, a new person would approach us, literally on the sidewalk, and say, hey, what are you covering? And then when we told them, they would add to the story and give their own personal accounts of what they're dealing with as business owners, as community members who who deal with kind of this area on a day in and day out basis. And one person told me, you know, I feel like people who even live in Albuquerque don't really understand the extent of the issues here because they just avoid that area. If you don't live or work there, you don't necessarily have to drive near First and I-40. So you might not know really what's happening in our own city. I did reach out. Filed a public records request to just understand how much we are paying for these buses. And yeah, the city holds a contract with Herrera Coaches. They are paying over $2,000 per day for that bus service that only takes, you know, people from that area near the freeway to the West Side shelter. I will say when I asked the city about, you know, the cost of services, sending out police, fire, ACS, solid waste on a daily basis is costly. And the city responded with, well, what would it look like if we didn't send those resources?
Well, I know this is one you're going to continue to follow up on and pay attention to, especially with, you know, we've got the election and everything going on. It's top of mind for a lot of people. So thanks. All right, we will be right back.
Welcome back. This next story is a unique follow-up that Ann reported on after she'd been covering a repeat drunk driver here in Albuquerque who went through a program that was designed to get to the root of the problem. So did the program work? Here's Ann's report.
Deputies arrested Jennifer Whitey for the 8th and hopefully final time for driving drunk in December 2021.
I had tried to stop you numerous times.
I didn't even know.
You didn't hear the sirens or see the lights?
We shared this lapel camera footage in a previous KRQE investigation showing you once at the substation, the repeat offender tried to run from deputies while being booked.
Help me! Let me go!
That was not me. That's just somebody that was crying for help, who needed help, and she didn't know how to ask for help.
Whitey saw it too.
It was good. I want to thank you, because without that video, me seeing it, that's what changed my whole perspective on myself.
We highlighted Whitey's multiple drunk driving arrests because when it came to her punishment, it appears she got a break. While Whitey admitted to 5 DWIs, she only pled to 4, and she received an opportunity successfully participate in Bernalillo County's DWI court program and avoid any time behind bars. Many who saw the stories on Whitey believed she'd had too many chances already and took to social media, calling her, quote, a waste of human life, writing, "This makes me sick," and demanding lock her up and throw away the key.
I think they didn't judge me wrongly. I think they kind of knew it, but they didn't know the whole story of why I was doing it.
The root of her alcoholism.
I was raised, you know, poor on the reservation with an alcoholic mom as well.
Whitey says she was 17 the first time she got caught drinking and driving.
I have 5 children, but one is deceased. That was also part of the alcohol use. I was a kid having a kid at the age of 15. So I realized a lot of trauma, abuse, rape, kidnap, everything. I've been through it.
That reflection is the point of the DWI court program. The Bernalillo County District Attorney's Office says participants typically have a long history of substance use and are facing their 4th or higher offense.
The easy answer is to simply say, here's the jail and I'm going to forget about you. What I have to think about is this: when that person gets out of jail, have we actually helped them or cured them from that addiction?
Because, as Whitey admits, jail's never been a deterrent.
It was just more like a free vacation in a way, and then you just start where you left off until you get in trouble again.
A short break from her addiction, but no real help.
Nobody's listening. Because most of the people will think, oh, well, they're going to be back next week.
And my fear always is, if they reoffend, are we going to end up in a tragic situation, right? So my hope with a lot of these individuals, and my goal, is to give them the tools so that we never get there.
Chief Deputy DA Joshua Boone says DWI court provides that. Off the bat, the defendant spends 30 days in treatment, then they have to complete 4 phases and must be sober for 6 months to move on to the next phase. So the program can take 2 years or more. Since it started in 2013, the court says only 3% of the 94 participants reoffended within 3 years of graduating.
It's really great to see that change in individuals and honestly to never see them again.
Judge Britt Baca began presiding over DWI court in 2021. Throughout, participants attend counseling up to 6 days a week, can only drive with an interlock, meet weekly with the case manager, are subject to random drug testing, and stand in front of Judge Baca every 2 weeks for a case review.
Both responsibility and honesty are extremely crucial to this program, because if they are not honest, then that is usually seen as more of a violation than something where if they're struggling with their sobriety.
She says violations can result in sanctions, like writing an essay for being late, or the more severe consequence, house arrest with a GPS monitor through the Metropolitan Detention Center's Community Custody Program, or CCP. We followed Whitey through the 29 months she spent in the DWI court program. She had 10 hearings on violations. Whitey graduated in May, but as her defense attorney, Jennifer Pearl, points out, she's not done yet.
Right now, she's technically in custody. She's on CCP, so it's not like she just did the program and
then I
it's
left.
done.
Yeah.
She's, it's very restrictive what she can and can't do right now.
There are mandatory sentences for DWI offenses. For pleading to a 4th, Whitey is under house arrest for 6 months. Attention and structure Whitey's grateful to finally have.
Like I tell everybody, don't look at my gain, look at my struggles. You know, listen to my story. I got my own life back.
Well, DWI is obviously a huge problem here in New Mexico. We cover repeat offenders often in the news, highlighting what often people perceive as the lack of justice. But we rarely hear directly from the drunk driver. And what was that interaction like when you were able to sit across from Jennifer Whitey and ask her, you know, what this was like from her perspective?
It was such a powerful conversation, and I'll never forget even just getting the confirmation that she would speak with me and I was going to have that opportunity. I was a little nervous because, man, this is, as you've said, something we don't normally get. So then I'm thinking, well, how much time do I have? What type of questions should I be asking? You know, how do we make sure that this is what this community deserves to hear from this person? And I think the biggest thing that people want to know is, did you really turn your life around? And are you remorseful? And she immediately came out of the gate saying that and just kept saying, I'm grateful I was caught. I'm grateful I was caught. I found myself jaw dropped throughout the interview. It was just fascinating to hear her be so vulnerable, hear her be so honest. And I'll tell you too, I did say to her, you know, it's been 2 years since I first covered your story. I put your absolute worst day on TV. You don't look good in those lapels. And, you know, these charges are really strong. 8 DWIs, 4 within a 2-year period. You really could have hurt somebody. I put your worst day out there, and then I've silently kind of followed you, been at every hearing for the last 2 years. You didn't have to sit down here with me. You know, how are you feeling about me? How are you feeling about the news? And her response was gratitude. She said, I want to thank you. And I just got kind of teary-eyed. I mean, what a powerful response. And just kind of, you know, swallowing your pride response of, you know, she's like, I needed to see that lapel. I needed to see what I was doing. I needed that almost right, that like mirror up to what you're doing to kind of show this isn't okay. And she said it really helped her take the DWI court program seriously. So,
and a testament that some people can turn their life around, which is really, really great to see. We really appreciate your reporting, and we're going to take a quick break and we'll have another story after the break.
Welcome back. There is no way that we were not going to talk about the massive DWI dismissal scandal that our team is still covering. 18 months ago, we learned a defense attorney paid officers to get his clients' DWI cases dismissed. This is a scheme that went on for 3 decades. Now, in this next piece, Gabby, you take us beyond this federal indictment of a former APD officer, and it's fascinating. Take a look.
Former Albuquerque police officer Louis Hinkle III approaches a driver in Northeast Albuquerque in February 2019. A 23-year-old woman, he says, was speeding 12 miles an hour over the speed limit around 1 a.m.
Any alcohol tonight?
I have one. An open bottle of whiskey is under her seat.
All right. Have you step out real quick. Do some field sobriety tests.
The officer joined APD's DWI unit in 2017, so he should be familiar with the dangers of drunk driving and what it takes to keep drunk drivers off the road.
Put your feet together, hands down at your side.
After a series of tests you can't see being performed from his lapel camera,
1004, 1005, 1006.
The driver agrees to take a preliminary breath test.
0.13. So I'm going to place you under arrest for driving under the influence of intoxicating liquor or drug. And I'm going to take you down for a calibrated breath test.
As the handcuffs go on, Hinkle drops some words of wisdom for his arrestee.
Life isn't always easy, but you know what? We make decisions in life, good or bad. We make decisions. And then there's consequences.
Consequences. It turns out a decision that officer later made in this case led him to break his oath to uphold the law. Today, he's facing his own consequences.
Good morning. We are here today for bench trial. Is the state ready?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense?
Audio records obtained by KRQE Investigates reveal the first time prosecutors tried to pursue a conviction against the accused drunk driver Hinkle arrested, August 2019, 6 months after the young woman's arrest.
The defense would ask for a defense continuance, and we would be willing to waive the rule.
A fill-in attorney says the main defense attorney is sick and asks for more time. Also missing is the main witness, Officer Hinkle. The judge agrees to postpone, and they're back in court 5 months later, January 2020.
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Thomas Clear III on behalf of the defendant.
Thomas Clear III is now representing the accused drunk driver. Behind the scenes, we now know Clear was asked to step in by an Albuquerque police officer who was, quote, romantically involved with the young DWI suspect.
We're here for trial setting. The state's necessary witness, Officer Hinkle, is not present. The officer check-in seems to indicate, I think he had some kind of, I don't know if it's an emergency, but he had another obligation. I personally didn't receive notice of this in advance. If not, I'd filed a motion to continue. It appears he's sick.
Sick. But today, Hinkle's federal guilty plea reveals he lied. Hinkle now tells the feds he agreed to call in sick that day as a, quote, professional courtesy to a fellow conspiring officer, the one romantically involved with the woman he arrested. Hinkle also admits to accepting a cash payment up to $500 to not appear for her trial. In fact, he says he was paid the equivalent of the overtime he missed out on for not attending court, knowing his absence would allow Clear to dismiss the case.
So we're respectfully going to request that the court dismiss the case at this time.
But once again, a judge agrees to postpone trial.
I'll grant the state's motion this one more time.
Fast forward 5 more months, June of 2020. In that time, prosecutors offered a plea.
Is that plea offer rejected or accepted? What are we doing on this one?
We're going to trial. Let's go.
And once again, the Metro Court judge sets another date for trial, warning prosecutors.
I'm really going to need you to reach out to your officers. We've been sending messages telling them they need to call in. You need to make sure that these officers know they have to appear in person for these definites, okay? Okay.
1 month later, July 2020, they're back in court, all except the state's key witness.
Your Honor, state is not ready for trial today. I spoke with Officer Hinkle. He has child care issues now on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
And respectfully, Your Honor, we would oppose the state's request to continue this matter
even for one more time.
Clear points out the number of delays and the officers' no-shows.
That just seems to be patently unfair, and at this time we would ask the court to dismiss the case.
A frustrated judge says she won't postpone again.
Said this case is dismissed with prejudice. I'll fill out an order right now, and we're going to get you guys out of here, all right? Thank
Judge,
you.
it's wonderful to be in your presence.
Thank you, Mr. Clear. We'll see you later.
Behind the scenes, Hinkle now tells the feds he was conspiring with Clear's office, taking cash in exchange for a dismissal, a scheme Clear admits he's been running since the 90s. Another dismissal, another accused drunk driver with no consequences.
Now, this specific case, it really shows us the game that those involved in this scheme played. So can you talk about what you learned from this piece about how they were really able to continue playing this game for so long?
Yeah, one thing that stuck out to me in Officer Henkel's federal plea agreement was him saying this was a professional courtesy. He called it a professional courtesy to a fellow officer who happened to be in a relationship with the person that he had arrested. So, you know, that aside, I wanted a glimpse of like, how were they able to get away with this in front of judges, in front of prosecutors? And getting that audio record from the court was key, because I was able to listen to each hearing and notice, oh, the voices have changed. This is a different prosecutor now. This is a different judge than initially heard. And you kind of get a glimpse of how the turnaround just in a single case, how that impacts a case, and how maybe things like an absence aren't flagged, aren't, you know, really taken notice of and made an issue in a single DWI case. There was a plea offer, you know, that the defense rejected because Tom Clear, as we now understand, was in on this fix and knew he was going to get a dismissal if he just, you know, was able to delay, get a continuance, and the officer was not going to show. So they had that under the table agreement. So I feel like this was just an opportunity to see how so many delays allowed for something like this to happen. I mean, the driver was arrested in February of 2019. So many hearings and pleas offered in between that time. And then in July 2020, the judge finally dismisses it, and you can hear her frustration in that audio when the officer is not present. But, you know, if you're just listening into those, you know, brief court hearings, you might not understand that there was a fix in.
Yeah. We've always known continuances are a defense attorney's game, but as we've learned over these last 18 months, you know, these police officers were playing it right along with them. Just still so upsetting, and a story we'll be covering for some time. So, all right. Well, we will be right back with a few more investigations. Welcome back. As soon as this next guy's name was mentioned as someone who could have participated in a public corruption scandal involving DWI arrests, nobody wanted to believe it. The DWI king, New Mexico State Police's Toby LaFave. So he's made hundreds of DWI arrests, and now that he is implicated, Gabby shows us the impact on both community safety and on our taxpayer dollars.
How much you had to drink today?
Known for cracking down on drunk driving in New Mexico, this state police sergeant,
I love this uniform. I like serving the public.
held a long reputation for holding people accountable.
You'll be placed under arrest for DWI.
Toby LaFave's own cameras capture his hundreds of arrests over the years.
Hey there.
The so-called DWI king joined the force more than 20 years ago and was featured on billboards for the state's End DWI campaign.
By the time someone is arrested for DWI, it's not usually their first time. It's just the first time they get caught, right?
So the idea LaFave was a straight shooter, one who upheld the law and kept the streets safer, made it all the more shocking when his name got tied to the ongoing federal investigation into the state's biggest DWI corruption scandal, a scheme where officers were working with a now disgraced defense attorney accepting cash to get DWI cases dismissed. Lefebvre's name was placed on the Bernalillo County District Attorney's Giglio list in February, joining more than a dozen other law enforcement officers who are no longer considered credible witnesses in court. It's all part of the pending federal investigation into officers participating in the corruption scheme.
If you're betrayed by a stranger, it's like, well, that's that person. What can you do? But then it hurts a lot more. It stabs you a little bit deeper when it's someone that you should be able to trust with these cases.
District Attorney Barbara Romo is responsible for prosecuting cases in Cibola, Valencia, and Sandoval counties. But without an arresting officer's testimony, a conviction, especially in a DWI case, isn't possible.
We can't prosecute any of his cases where he's the primary officer.
I've been doing this a long time, so you think that you've seen it all, but then something like this happens and you realize that you haven't.
State Police Chief Troy Weisler told us in February he got a call from the FBI and immediately placed Lefebvre on administrative leave. The pending cases Lefebvre handled were automatically dismissed with no consequences for the accused.
I've never been to jail, please, sir.
This driver admitted to drinking and driving in December.
I drink, sending my kids to school. I need to find a contact my father because, honestly, he's probably super mad at me.
What could have been a harsh lesson for this young mom,
At least you're alive, you know?
is now a lucky break. It's a similar story again and again.
Okay, well, I'd rather you be late for curfew than me scrape your body up off the roadway because someone chose to drive drunk.
Dozens of Lefebvre's recent encounters with apparent drunk drivers.
Can I ask where my speeding was going?
121.
Many of them young.
How much you had to drink?
I only had a shot.
Recently amount to dozens of free passes in court.
Hey there.
Hi.
How are you?
Take this traffic stop he made in September.
How old are you?
I'm 19.
I'm trying to catch up to you. You actually reached a speed of 98 miles an hour.
The teenage driver he stopped from flying on the freeway fails field sobriety tests.
Starting with the letter H as in Henry, stopping at the letter R as in Robert.
I can't do that.
You can't do that test? Why not?
Wait, H?
Start at H and stop at R.
I can't.
Why not?
I've never had to count backwards by H.
Okay, one, you're not counting. You are reciting the alphabet forward.
Lefebvre arrests her for DWI. Cuffed in the back seat, the teenage driver gives him attitude.
Yeah, automatically dismissed. How do you...
Dismissed.
I ain't gonna get charged with...
As fate would have it, she was right, but not because she proved to anyone that she wasn't driving drunk that night. It's a glimpse of the nearly 40 pending DWI cases prosecutors were forced to drop due to Lefebvre losing credibility. Hers is among the 7 case dismissals that reach beyond the metro.
Yeah, it doesn't send a good message, but by the same token, I can honestly say that the vast majority of law enforcement officers I've worked with across the state, they're out there doing their job, and I guarantee you, they hate this more than anybody.
Lefebvre is still on admin leave pending the federal and now internal investigation by state police. KRQE Investigates confirmed through public records the sergeant is still making a $54 an hour paycheck on leave. So far, paid more than $39,000 and counting to stay off the streets. And while we've seen officers criminally charged in this scheme, the feds so far have not charged Lefebvre. His long-standing crusade, cracking down on drunk drivers, now clouded with questions about his own conduct.
Now, something I know that we have discussed before, but I really think it is worth bringing back up, just the lessons not learned by these drivers who are let off.
Yeah, I think one thing to highlight, it kind of brings me back to your Jennifer Whitey case, right? Like, people can learn lessons when they are arrested and held accountable for their actions. And I looked at so many lapel videos from Toby Lefebvre's arrest in this case of pending DWIs that were dismissed. There were nearly 40 of them, just dismissed because he lost credibility in court. And a lot of them were first-time DWI offenders and young people. You heard that woman kind of giving him so much grief in her video and arrest. And, you have to wonder, like, if somebody had gone through the whole process of a conviction and having that on their record, would that be enough to, stop them and say, like, no, this is really not okay. You can't get behind the wheel when you're intoxicated. It's alarming.
Yeah, and this story aired a few months ago, but one piece that was like really important is he was placed on unpaid administrative leave. Now, has anything developed here? Is he off the force? Is he in trouble? Is he facing any charges?
I literally checked on this right before our recording, which we are recording mid-September right now to timestamp myself in case something does change. He has been on administrative leave since mid-February. He is getting full pay according to public records that I requested from DPS. He's making a $54 an hour paycheck, which amounts to over $64,000 that he has been paid on admin leave to date, again, to not work. So there's no update on the internal investigation that state police has conducted. I asked if there are any updates, and they told me nothing new as of this morning. So yeah, taxpayer dollars pay for police to keep the public safe. And as you mentioned, Toby Lefebvre was making hundreds of arrests, and he is not working, and he is getting full pay.
An upsetting update for the community for sure. We'll be right back. We've got one more investigation for you.
Welcome back. In our final investigation, we'll share with you that we get a close-up look at a new piece of technology being used in policing and a better idea of all the tech that the Albuquerque Police Department is using to tackle crime. Here's Ann Pierret's report on the drones in blue.
The Albuquerque Police Department utilizes license plate readers, shots fired detectors, helicopters, body cameras, bus dash cameras, speed cameras, and now...
So right now the dock should be opening up.
Flying cameras, drones.
As it opens up, the camera view will begin to activate.
You're looking at APD's newest addition to its force.
I think as a whole, this has the potential to greatly increase our efficiency as a police department.
Chief Harold Medina tells me there will be more than 50 drones housed in what they're calling hives, strategically located on roofs of buildings throughout Albuquerque. APD doesn't want the exact locations known.
So right now I want to check the weather, make sure that the flying conditions are safe, and then I'm going to go through the flight control settings.
Fuad Scherer is piloting this drone from miles away. He's inside the real-time crime center on the city's west side. This hive is located in southeast Albuquerque.
So now I'm going to do an inspection of the drone itself.
How are you doing that?
So the dock has an internal camera system that allows us to do a pre-flight inspection. Once the inspection is complete, then we're going to be good to launch here in a second.
That entire process, Scherer says, should take less than 2 minutes. Then...
Typically, a person operating a drone must be able to see the actual drone. It's a Federal Aviation Administration requirement, but APD says it received a waiver from the federal agency allowing the department to deploy drones as, quote, first responders, meaning operators like Scherer here at the Real-Time Crime Center can dispatch a drone from the closest hive anywhere in the city to the potential crime scene.
And we're going to climb to a safe altitude.
He can actually do that with the click of a button, letting the drone fly autonomously. But this time, Scherer is choosing to manually control it.
And while I'm doing this, I'm also maintaining visual of the airspace, along with ensuring that our GPS and connection signals look good.
That camera shot is the drone's camera. Footage APD says responding officers will be able to watch on their phone or patrol car computer. Scherer says the pilot will also relay what they're seeing to officers en route.
We're trying to take away response times from patrol officers by implementing drones first. So getting to the scene quick, assessing it, looking for victims, and helping with the coordination of resources.
Chief Medina says the drone's quick response time will also allow them to determine if an officer actually needs to respond.
There is a suspicious car parked at the park. There's possibly a stolen car here, and we will now be able to launch our drone, saving officers for the time being to just verify that there is a car still there.
Knowing the technology could sound to some like Big Brother, I asked when the drones will be used.
They're not just going to be freely patrolling, looking for stuff. It's going to be reference a dispatched call for service that we were already going to anyway.
And when it comes to gun crimes, the chief says these drones will link with ShotSpotter, prompting a deployment to the area where gunshots are fired within 90 seconds. No 911 call needed.
And a lot of times you know that it's going to take more than a minute and a half for an incident to fully develop, shots to be fired, shooting or a homicide to occur, people get back to their cars, start leaving. So we're hoping that it's going to be able to enable us to take people more quickly into custody in some of these cases.
The information provided will also be key, he says, to helping victims quicker.
Officers may be staging blocks away, waiting for other resources to get there, and the offender is gone, and the victim could use medical services. And now our officers will be able to have the information.
Do you see this at all preventing officer-involved shootings?
Oh, potentially yes, as opposed to officers going into the backyard and looking and finding the individual surprisingly and not having that chance to de-escalate and negotiate with the individual. It definitely has the potential to reduce officer-involved shooting and uses of force.
The footage recorded will be used as evidence, but APD says what the drone is flying over, like homes and businesses on the way to a scene, won't be captured. The drones fly with the camera pointed straight ahead, so APD claims it can't encroach on someone's privacy.
We're going to be careful, we're going to be respectful, so I think that it is a win-win for our community. And I think our community deserves it.
We're going to return the drone and land it in the dock, and the drone is landed in the dock.
Tell me about this. What does APD think that these drones will be most useful for? And what about the criticism of, okay, will we see fewer actual police responding to calls?
No, to answer that last question, they are not expecting to send any less officers, any fewer officers, anything like that. It's just really to give them kind of a heads up, because that drone will get there first to kind of let them know what they are approaching, what type of scene they're approaching. But it's saving time, but it's also officer safety, because you don't know where that person is. They could be hiding and jump out at you. They could have a weapon on them. The drone will, the zoom is pretty incredible on the drone, so they'll be able to show you that too. And as a result of all of this, one big question I had, okay, as with you being able to see all of this ahead of time and know all of this ahead of time, will there be fewer police officer involved shootings? And the chief said, yes, that's the hope, because we will know what we're going into. We won't be surprised. We'll know if somebody has a weapon on them. So it sounds like a lot of positives. Of course, people are worried, right? There's always that big brother aspect here, but I think it'll be really interesting. And I'm curious if the program will stick around if we do get a new mayor in November. So it's an interesting one. It was really fascinating to get to highlight.
Well, we have a lot of different topics that you and I investigate and are constantly, have our hands in so many moving pieces. So, but if you all have story ideas, always feel free to reach out to us. You can find our contacts on our website and also all of our investigations at krqe.com/investigations. Thank you all for watching.